Hello Back to the Future fans! The second issue to the comic book miniseries that's published by IDW Comics has recently come out. This issue consists of two different stories, both of which were written by Bob Gale, who was involved in the original movie trilogy. The first story is called The Doc Who Never Was. It was co-wrote by John Barber and it was drawn by Marcelo Ferreira. The story takes place in 1962, 7 years after Marty, who went back to 1955, but then went back to his own time in 1985. We're given an alternate timeline about what could have happened had Doc been working for the government rather than being independent. It's an interesting read, but the only real ramifications we get from this is that we find out what happened to his original mansion. It's been hinted at, but we're finally given closure as to what actually happened. Interesting side note is that Marshall Strickland shows up at the very beginning of this comic book, which takes place after Marty left the Old West and went back to his own time. That means that one of the deleted scenes showing that Marshall Strickland being killed by Buford Tannen doesn't exist, which is something that's kind of cool because that was a very dark deleted scene, which I'm happy they didn't keep in the original movie. The second story is called Science Project. This takes place in 1984 when Marty's already a part of his life, but it's before he used a time machine to go back to 1955. Again, nothing really happened in this story too much either. It was just Doc helping Marty figure out a science project to use for school. We do get an idea about how Doc acquired the DeLorean to use for his science experiments, but that's really it. I'm liking this comic book, and this issue was okay, but the problem I'm really having is that the stories don't seem to matter too much. The previous issue didn't really have any time travel taking place. This one, at least, we got to see something that could have possibly have happened, but it may have also just been a dream. There may be some rule put in place where all of the stories in this miniseries has to take place within the timeline of the original trilogy, but I would love to see future stories take place. I think it's a really missed opportunity because there's so many time travel stories that could be told. It may be too similar to The Doctor, and maybe that's why they're not doing too much on the actual time travel aspect of the series. I think it would be really cool to have all the characters from the Back to the Future series being misplaced in time because of some sort of anomaly that took place, and having either Doc or Marty, or hell, maybe even Jennifer going back to save all of them. I think Jennifer got the short end of the stick in the original trilogy, and I think it'd be really cool if this time Marty is the one who's being left behind and Jennifer is the one that has to fix everything. But that's just my head. That's something that I'm thinking that could have been really cool had it been written out further like that. But regardless of it, this series is an IDW comic book series, and it's available at most comic book stores everywhere. I will continue on reading this miniseries with my fingers crossed, hoping there's going to be an ongoing series that's going to come out later. You never know, it could happen. Anyways, thank you guys for joining me in this comic book review, and I will join you in another one very soon. Peace.